Hello everyone and welcome to a special episode of Wasteland Watch Breaking News. CD Projekt Red have finally revealed console gameplay footage of CyberPunk 2077. Were the fears about console downgrading warranted? Well, stay tuned, we're gonna take a look and find out. Before we get into the story, I just want to thank you for your time. We really do appreciate you checking out this video, and if you want to support the channel, leave a like, comment, and most importantly, click the red subscribe button down below to make sure you don't miss any future videos. Back at E3 in 2012, Ubisoft sparked the debate around console downgrading when they revealed the debut entry in the Watchdogs series. When the game eventually released, the graphics were impressive for the time, however the visuals shown off in the trailer were in no way representative of the final product. The consumer backlash to the underwhelming graphics of the final release when compared to the trailer ultimately led to Ubisoft changing their marketing strategy for releasing new games. The Watchdogs controversy had a knock-on effect on the rest of the games industry, with developers realizing that consumers don't appreciate the old bait and switch. For that reason, gameplay trailers are now prioritized over cinematic teasers that might not necessarily be an accurate depiction of what you see on your screen when you load up the game. CD Projekt Red have managed to keep the hype train building for CyberPunk 2077, despite several delays, news of cut features, and the recent reports of complaints from their employees about crunch in the final weeks of testing before launch. However, we finally have some good news to report about the long-awaited and much-anticipated game that is now only a little over 3 weeks away from release. It's not often that the gameplay reveal for such a widely marketed game takes place so close to the release date, but as I mentioned in the premiere episode of Wasteland Watch News, which you can check out by clicking the eye in the corner, it seems to be a calculated marketing strategy by CD Projekt Red to keep the hype train running at full steam. The concerns about console downgrading have not been helped by the apparent reluctance of the developers to show off console gameplay footage before now. The PC version we've all seen up to this point, needless to say, looks fantastic. But is the console release being so close to the actual release date an indication that we should have had much lower expectations? Let's take a look. The main differences between the graphics on the new next-gen Xbox Series X and the current-gen Xbox One X are obviously improved lighting, reflections, and just overall smoother gameplay, as would be expected. It's less a case of the current-gen graphics being disappointing, rather the next-gen version of the game looking pretty damn impressive. Likely being one of, if not the last big release of the swansong era of the current-gen consoles, whatever impression it leaves, CyberPunk 2077 is what gamers will remember about the end of the life cycle of the Xbox One and PlayStation 4. After all, in this day and age of shortened attention spans and... what was I talking about again? Right, well, we also got a look at the one and only Keanu Reeves, better known in Night City as Johnny Silverhand. To be honest, it's difficult to compare the character models due to the lighting being so much darker in the footage on the Xbox Series X. If anything, the skin textures on the Xbox Series X version look slightly smoother and less shiny, but without a side-by-side screen to compare and the stark contrast in lighting, it almost appears deliberate on the part of CD Projekt Red to avoid showing direct comparisons of the same scene. Now, obviously that's not to say that the Xbox One X version looks bad by any stretch. Rather than the current-gen version not living up to expectations, the more noticeable differences are still just subtle enough to give the next-gen version the edge in terms of polish and atmospheric refinement on the already impressive current-gen graphics. And that just about wraps up our special breaking news episode covering the console gameplay reveal of CyberPunk 2077. Thanks again for joining us. Your support is most appreciated, and if you don't want to miss any future breaking news episodes, then make sure to hit the red subscribe button below the video. I've been your host, Donald Key, and you've been watching Wasteland Watch News. Happy trails, folks.